Hi guys, welcome back to Creative Frenzy. Alright, I feel like making some miniature pumpkins and plant holders and things like that. I will be making them out of natural modeling clay. I just got this at the dollar store. It's air dry clay, which dries naturally, so which is nice. I don't really use like Fimo or anything like that. I find this works just as well. It just takes a little bit more finagling, but instead of having a play with that first, I usually try to do it with plasticine because it doesn't dry out and you can reuse it over and over, which is kind of nice. So you get to experiment and play and see what works and what doesn't work. So instead of finding out later that, you know, it's the wrong size, scale, whatever, it's kind of nice to be able to play with it ahead of time. So this one I made out of paper, and it is from a K-cup from the Keurig pods. I just cut it apart and cut it smaller, but this is quite large. So let's see. So this is almost, yeah, so it's almost 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters tall. So I did cut this down quite a bit, so, but that's okay, because you can adjust this and cut it even smaller or shorter and then make it adjustable, which is kind of nice. There are blueprints out there for you to print off and use. I just found it easier to do it this way. There's a bunch of measurements that you can take that works too, but anyway, I'm too lazy to do it that way. So yeah, this one I made out of clay, and this one. So I did make a greenhouse, and I made all my own pots. And I love how they turned out. The thing is, the scale sometimes it's a little bit off, so when you're trying to make a smaller room, and if you don't have anything on hand, it's kind of nice to be able to make your own. So that's what I've been doing. And because Halloween is coming up, I was just playing around with some fun little things. The beauty of it is it's just plasticine, so you don't have to, you know, keep it. But I thought it was kind of cute just to do something a little bit different. So you could stick a candle in there if you wanted to. But plasticine is perfect for this kind of stuff. You can just practice and play, and you know, it keeps your hands busy. Yeah, so I made some much smaller ones. So this is quite a bit smaller than this one. So this is the size that I used in my greenhouse, but I'm making this other little room and I wanted something even smaller. So you can tell that's quite a bit of a size difference. So and then I was experimenting with pattern and, you know, just some different tools that I have on hand. So this set, there's another one for this, yeah. So this set is a fondant set. You can get it at the dollar store in the baking section. For a beginner, this is perfect because you get quite a variety of different shapes and things like that, and it helps quite nicely. I did buy a set off of AliExpress, which is these ones right here. And then I also bought a bunch of different tools like this. So these are more for clay and things like that to remove different shapes and whatnot else. I don't know if it'll work as well on plasticine, so let's try that, shall we? I just keep it in this easy wrap or whatever you get at the grocery store. So, okay, so you could just, you know, practice, especially if you're new at something. It's kind of nice to be able to try different things. Oh, don't forget, this is a big block, so it'll be a little bit more adjustable, but if you were to make it out of clay, you'd have to go a little bit, plasticine is softer than clay, so you have to be careful. So that'd be kind of cool. But I found this one to be quite handy to attach different pieces together with clay. So that'd be nice to practice with. Now my hands are all sticky from the plasticine. Baby wipes are your friend here. Just keep reusing the same one. If it gets dry, just spray it with water. But it's nice to have on hand. Okay. Now that I have that, I like making these shapes because I wanted to make a outdoor scene with a little koi pond. So I thought that'd be kind of cool because it's shallow enough and you can build the terrain around it if you wanted to. I thought it'd be kind of neat. So anyway, lots of ideas floating around in my little skull. So I thought I would start with pumpkins. So pumpkins are, well, appropriate for this season. And they're cute. What can I say? The stems I make out of burlap. I will show you that too. So I don't know. This will probably be a two-part video. So we'll make some and then let it dry. You have to let it dry overnight. And then the next day I will paint them, put them together. And we'll try some different techniques and stuff like that. So I suppose this is a tutorial of a sort. But also because I need to make some more pumpkins and they're cute and fun to make. So same as these little pots, the little ceramic pots. Yes, they're gonna look like they're handmade, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So I want to make them small enough so that I have a bunch of them. If they do get a little bit dry, just have some water on hand. I do have some dirty paint water. It's okay. It's not going to make any difference. It does help. So, but this one is my favorite for this kind of work. So however big you want it, I do make it a little bit flat on the bottom, so it's nicer when you go to attach it. I do glue all of my pieces down, I'm pretty sure, because I don't really, do much else with it. I don't reuse the same things over and over. So there we go. There's a little pumpkin. It's cute. And you can make them all different sizes, which is lovely. I love pumpkins. There's something so nice about the shape. So this one's going to be a bit wonky, which is okay. That's good. Pumpkins, I haven't been to a pumpkin patch in such a long time, but they come in all different shapes and sizes, and some of them are very wonky. Where is it? So go deep enough so when you go put the glue in there for your stem, it'll have something to hold on to. So how are you all doing? I hope you're enjoying the series of the stone cottage. I really enjoyed making it. And I know some of the videos are kind of like, do I really want to watch paint dry? But it goes to show that there's a lot of work that goes into these miniatures, It's like you can fast forward if you like. I don't really say anything too specific. But it is a lot of fun to just sort of, create along with me if you enjoy that kind of thing. Especially if, you do it in smaller stages so that you can create your own and you have time to wait in between drying and things like that. So if you needed to wait for some other pieces to come in, then you absolutely have time to do that. So when I first made these pumpkins, I made the mistake of painting them with acrylics. Now, don't get me wrong, if you are patient, it is doable, but I have found painting with watercolors first is very helpful. Excuse me. It does tend to create a nicer bond onto the clay, which is helpful when you go to paint them. So you squish some of these down a little bit more. They don't have to be perfect. See that when I just squished a little bit more on one side? I mean, that's the beauty of these, right? So you can adjust it any which way you like. I mean, if you look up some reference photos for pumpkins, there are some really wacky ones out there, which is really cute. So your imagination is your best friend in this case. The wonkier, the better. Now, if you wanted to turn them into jack-o'-lanterns, that's a little bit different, but that's okay. But some of them I just sort of put on an angle, you know, and then I'm going to make some tiny ones. So depending on the scale that you want to use them as. Because you can obviously make some really large ones. But I do try to make the bottoms quite flat, because it's easier to just put them where you want to put them. So whether that's in a basket or in a crate or something like that. Well, these would be cute as little pencil toppers. Let's see. Now this is where experimentation with plasticine comes in handy, okay? So if you wanted to turn this into a pencil topper, so let's say this is the pencil. Like, how cute would that be? So you want to make sure they're big enough so that when you go to put your stem in there, right? So just make your hole a bit larger. Do I have a regular pencil? I don't even know. All right, here's a pencil crayon. It's close enough. You could glue them on, right? So how cute would that be? That'd be adorable. So make sure that, you know, they're going to stay put. There. That'd be cute. That's what I like about plasticine, because then you can just experiment and do different things. And you're not wasting clay on something that might not work for you. So this one looks like it needs some more lines. There. Just make a couple more small ones. I really do like the little tiny ones. They're perfect for like on little shelves and stuff like that. I will see if I can insert a picture of my greenhouse. I am going to do a tour of it, so I might do that, attach it to the video here. We'll see. Or I will link it somewhere above, below, whatever. And then you can see for yourself how I have it situated in the greenhouse. So there we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I mean, it depends on how many you want to make. Okay, let's make some little pots. So this is the perfect size, I think, for what I want it to be. Let's see. Hang on a second. This is what I was thinking. So this is another little miniature that I made, but it's inside a little box that I got at the dollar store. So, but I want a plant right here. So I need to, so and this is a good way of making it out of plasticine, because then you can sort of figure out if that's the size. So they'll be about the size that I need. There, that'd be cute. I think that would work quite well. All right. I just get these boxes at the dollar store. These ones are a Dollar Tree, actually. It's just wood box. I don't know what size it is. What size is this? It is 5.5 by 5.5 by, how deep is it? 1.5? 1 3/4 deep. So, which is a perfect size for like a small room. So you have to be careful on how you put these little pots in there, right? So this is about the size. So you have to sort of go back and remember. So that's about right. Start off a little bit smaller. And I just sort of swirl it around in there. Now, it is air dry clay, so it could potentially crack, which is okay. We can come back in and fix some of it. So that's quite tall. And then what I do is I just wet the ball end, and then I just go around just to make it a little bit smoother. And then if you see little tiny cracks, you can just go in, and the water just sort of basically looks like you're gluing it back together. Just a little bit of pressure is all you need. There. If you find that it's a little bit too wide, we can still adjust it just a tiny bit. There. So you see it's cracked just a tiny bit. We'll just go in very gently. Don't overdo it. There. And then if you want, you can get your little tool out. So this one is a fondant shaper, but I kind of like the you can go in a few times. I kind of like it. It just adds a little bit of texture. There. And then when you go to paint it, it will be kind of cool. There we go. So now that is quite a bit taller than that, so I'm going to make something a little bit smaller. Again, same principle. Which is why we do a mock-up, right? So that we know. And then if you want to, you can just go in, just wet it a little bit. And then we'll fix it. It's a bit of a tear. Now you can get as creative as you like with these. And if you get really, really fancy, you can, oops, oh no. Well, there you go. So now it's a sideways pot. You know what? I'm not mad at it. I'm just going to fix this. and then it's one of those ones you can put in the garden on the side. Oh my goodness, that's actually kind of cute. There. And then, you know, a plant can come spilling out. Oh my goodness, that's too funny. I don't think that's ever happened before. Alright, let's try this again. So let's try a little bit smaller. Probably should keep your clay covered up, but it's okay. Let's try this again, shall we? Makes that satisfying popping sound. So this is about the size that I want. And then there's a crack. There we go. Now you can make these smooth, or you could, you know, really make them look like a bit more like hand crafted, like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? More textured, more clay-like. I kind of like that look too. It just adds a little bit more to it. So that's better. That's a bit more keeping in scale with this one. I need to make a bunch of these, so, because that's more or less the size that I want. Oops, you get out of the way. There we go. Now you can go a little bit deeper inside because you want to be able to put glue in there. So when you place your plants in there, it has something to hold on to. Again, we're just going to go around and fix any cracks that we see. And we can fix up the edge. And these will dry quite nicely. So you can go smooth. Just go around with your finger instead of the round ball. There we go. I'll just flatten it a little bit. There. That's actually pretty good. It's okay if they're a little bit crooked. Now what you could do is you just turn it upside down, just flatten it a little bit. Give it a bit of a flatter edge. There we go. That's cute. So as I was saying, painting with watercolor, or gouache actually, or any flat paint is probably your best bet. I paint all my pumpkins black first, and then I will go over top of the orange acrylic, very watered down, so that it's not going to stick to your finger and pull the paint right back off again, which is really annoying, because then you're going to be making it over and over and over with paint. That's not fun. If you find you can't fix the crack, you know what, then you start over. It's okay. It's just clay. The only problem with clay is the more you handle it, the more it dries out. So you have to be a little bit more intentional. You can go a little bit taller. to make it more like a vase. You could add beads to this, I guess, if you wanted to. I don't know how well that would work. I've never tried it. Experimentation, that's a lot of fun, right? So if you just keep on going around and around. So this one's a little bit on an angle, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. They're all going to be a little bit different. Nothing is really going to be quite the same. Let's see. Ooh, I like this one that I did the little dots in. So I might do that with one of these. While it's still damp enough that you can do that. So I'm going to grab this one. That's cute. Just a little bit of texture. Let's see. I think that should just about do. I do have a tall vase here. It's quite chunky though, that's the only thing. So let's see if we can make something a little less chunky. This ought to be interesting. You could use a flat surface to roll it out, like an acrylic roller block or whatever. Alright, let's start off small. You could leave it like that and then just stick a single thingy, flower, stem, whatever you want. The bigger you go, the more you can fit in there, right? So it's just a question of sizing up. There we go. Just have to be careful not to ruin the wall. And then you can go in there. And just make it a little bit wider. I kind of like that, so I might want to accentuate that. Let's see. We'll see how it works when it's dry. Sometimes you got to work with what you have. All right. Because that'll be something that you can paint a different color. There. We'll see how that works. That'll be interesting. It's actually standing up not too badly. And then, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Let's make a dozen pumpkins and then we can paint them tomorrow and experiment with not just paint but glitter and I don't know, maybe some, well, if you really wanted to do modern ones you could do the white pumpkins, which I've done before, which is really, really cute. Still, I paint them black first regardless, even though if I'm going to paint them white, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I go quite deep with these score lines, and other times not so much. It's okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. Not a small one, I think, ish. There we go. These pumpkins come together fairly quickly. I mean, they're one of the easiest shapes to make. And they're a lot of fun. And when you group them together in a little bowl or something, they look really cute. I need a small one. There we go. All right, I'm going to put this away. It'll go in a Ziploc bag too, because you want to make sure you keep that moist enough to work with. For now, we'll just set it there. And then I will show you how I make the stems. It's fairly simple. As long as you're not bored yet, we will do that. So these will have to dry overnight. You'll probably want to turn them over several times so that they dry evenly, so you don't get cracks or anything like that in them. I mean, they won't take very long to dry. All right, so take your burlap ribbon. I got mine at the dollar store. I haven't tried it with twine, but that doesn't mean it won't work. So I will make a bunch of this because I would like to have it on hand. So you just pull it apart. So I keep the long ones together and the short ones. The short ones I usually make like little brooms and little handheld brooms and stuff like that with. But you can use them for stems. It's just the longer ones are a little bit easier to work with. Let's get these tools out of the way. So I would take about 3 of them. That's a short one. I'll leave that one. And you just get your good old tacky glue or PVA glue, whatever glue you prefer. And this is the messy part. Okay. Be generous. And then you're just going to twist and pull the glue through. And let that sit overnight too. And that'll make the perfect stem. You'll cut them to size, and then you'll be able to glue them in easily. There's one. This is the messy part. Now, if you want a thicker stem, obviously you use more strands, but this works quite nicely. Now you can paint these once you have them attached, or you could paint them at this point. like once you've glued them together, if you wanted to. But do twist it, because then it looks more like the vine part of the pumpkin. And you will get burlap everywhere. I don't like the feeling, but it does have a nice result. Let's make a thicker one. For the larger pumpkins, it's kind of cool to have a thicker one. Almost done. This is, you know, this is usually when it gets a little bit too crazy with the glue. Your fingers just don't want to come apart anymore. So don't use super glue, because you don't want that onto your fingers. Alright. I think we'll leave it at that. So there we go. Let that dry, and then tomorrow we can do more. Alright guys, that's it for now. Yeah, like I said, use plasticine to practice with, because then you don't have to worry about you know, making mistakes with the clay, especially if you only have a small amount, which is, you know, sometimes the case because you run out. But, you know, this way you can also sort of figure out scale and things like that, which is perfect. And you get to experiment with fun things like that. So I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.